Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Narrow Road. They say that a voice can be recognized instantly. A parent can pick out their child amongst a crowd. Children know the voice of their parents, their mothers, their fathers, without hesitation. Now, it makes me wonder, do we recognize the voice of God in our lives? Now, in our reading today, we have Jesus performing the miracle of raising Lazarus. Now, the voice of God doesn't always come as something loud or overwhelming. Just like with the prophet Elijah, he basically felt his presence kind of in that soft breeze, not in the big thunderstorm or the rains or anything like that. It's more often a whisper, a quiet nudge, a thought that just feels a little bit different than all of the others. Now, in our story with Lazarus, there were many voices. There were the voices of Martha and Mary, probably his friends and family, the voices of grief, of prayer, of voices begging for help, all meaningful, all emotional, all kind of powerful, and seeking to help to do something. But none of them were able to bring him back until one voice spoke, the voice of our blessed Lord. And that was what finally moved the needle for Lazarus. Lazarus was dead, and all of the other voices, all of the other noise essentially fell upon ears that could not respond. But when Christ called him by name, everything changed. And the same is true in our lives. We hear a lot of voices from a weekly newsletter, podcasts, social media, sermons, different videos, newspapers, conversations with friends and family, a lot of different things like this. And they can be very powerful, very motivating. They can be life-changing. But if we're honest, what actually moves the needle? And I would argue that the thing that moves the needle the most is those moments when God speaks directly to you, and all the different shapes and sizes that it comes in. And we all know that the ways that he speaks to us it's different for each of us, but you can feel it. And that's really what truly moves you. It's what moves us. And when that happens, that's when real shifts begin to happen. That's when old patterns and paradigms begin to die and fade away, and new life begins to take shape. Lazarus didn't just get up and walk out of the tomb and go back to the exact same life that he had before. His life was forever different after that. He became a witness, a target. They basically plotted against him, a follower. He was a man marked by an encounter with Christ. And, if we think about it, Lazarus is really the only person we could think of who has two tombs. And I guess the only person we could think of in history who has two tombs. In a sense, we do as well. The one that holds the person that we used to be before our relationship with the Lord, and then the one that eventually will hold our body when our time here on earth is done. But in between those two is a life changed here on earth by the voice of the Lord, by listening to it, by recognizing it, and by letting it impact our lives just like Lazarus, by letting it impact our lives just like in the story of Jesus and Lazarus. So today, yes, the miracle itself is incredible, and there's so many other things great points to take away from this particular scripture and story. But today I'm not really thinking about the miracle itself. I'm thinking about the voice of God, because the one voice that holds more power than any other is the voice of God. It raised Lazarus, and it still works miracles each and every single day in our lives. God bless you, and thank you for your time.